Hello, we are here in the office at the Traveling School, and we just want to welcome you to the our first attempt at a webinar. So thanks in advance for being part of this. Our goal for this webinar is to provide you with an overview of our program, share out some examples of our mission in action, and provide some details specific to each of our semesters. We'll also spend some time talking through the 2019-2020 application process. We'll go over a couple nuts and bolts as well in a second, but the first thing I guess we want to stress is we are attempting to record this as well. So hopefully at this point, if you're on a computer, our slide deck has kind of taken over your screen. And I guess we just ask if you guys could keep yourselves muted and your videos off. If you have anything that you want to ask us, there's a chat function and you can just put your questions through that. So I guess we'll start by introducing ourselves.
Hi there, I'm Anj Thomas. I was not just talking, that was my friend Dalton. But I'm one of the two program directors in the office, and I focus on the Southern Africa semester, which happens in the fall. I'm gonna pause just sorry, we're just letting somebody else in here. Hi there. So if you're just joining, if you can turn off your video function, and then that way we can see the whole screen and everybody can be on as well. Like Dalton was saying, if you can stay muted throughout the webinar, and then we have our chat function that we'll be using. So hopping right back into it, I'm Anj Thomas, program director for the fall semester. And I work together closely with Dalton and Leah, who are both here during the admissions process and then all the way through the semester, particularly the fall semester, and then afterwards with the alumni as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Dalton real quick, who you've just heard.
How's it going? I wanted to introduce myself as well. My name is Dalton McCurdy, and I am the admissions manager here at the Traveling School. And what that means is usually I'm kind of the first point of contact for prospective students and families. And my goal is to kind of help students through that admissions process and also through the enrollment process as well. So thanks for joining us for this session.
And my name is Leah Knickerbocker. I am the other program director. Myself and Anj oversee both programs. And where she focuses on the fall semester, I focus on the spring semester to South America. So if you're applying for that semester or interested in that semester, I become your main point of contact for both parents and students for any questions you have.
Awesome. So now we're going to turn our video back off and start things up. Oh yeah, and I think we're just gonna try, Kate, are you there? We were hoping to have an alumna on the webinar as well. I think she's trying to still sign in. So she might introduce herself in a little bit, but we are hoping that she'll bring a student perspective to some of the experiences as kind of we talk through all of this information. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. So before we really jump into it, we'll just go over a few of the nuts and bolts. As I mentioned, this is our first attempt at a webinar. So thank you in advance for kind of bearing with us. As I said, our slideshow will kind of take over the screen. And because we're hoping to, well, we are recording it and then hoping to put it up on our website, we just ask that you guys try to keep yourselves on mute and your videos off. And if questions come up, please feel free to use that chat function. As we go through the information session, if you have specific questions on specific component of one of the programs, we will at the end kind of go through all of those questions. And if at any point there's something you want to follow up on afterward, we'll provide contact information for us as well. And we would definitely encourage you to continue the conversation after this. So let's get started. At the Traveling School, we believe that informed, inspired, and confident young women can change the world. We see females empowering females, and we see our students as future change makers with the capacity to push limits, break ceilings, and be leaders. Since 2003, the Traveling School has cultivated global engagement, leadership, and confidence in almost 400 women at this point. So we base our program on 4 pillars, and we'll go into detail on those in a little bit. Experiential academics, global engagement, outdoor adventure, and leadership development. Before we dive into all of those, just a quick overview of both of our programs, and then we'll kind of hone in on the specific information on each of the programs. So each of our semesters is 15 weeks long with 16 students and 4 teachers living, learning, and exploring together. Students take 6 place-based experiential classes, and they participate in over 20 hours of community service. So every fall, our group goes to Southern Africa, exploring Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And then in spring, we take students to South America, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia.
And while you're with the Traveling School, your classroom is all around you. We don't rely on 4 walls or technology. Instead, our academic schedule is responsive to our surroundings and opportunities that present themselves as we travel through a region. Students are engaged in relevant coursework presented by their teachers, local community members, and their geographic surroundings. Classes are immersive and happen anywhere. Okay, just a moment. Okay, little technical glitch here, but we're back in. And so this could be you in science class studying elephant behavior in Botswana. Maybe you're writing in your science field journal, or maybe you're drafting a global studies paper about the effects of tourism and conservation that you learned while you were on safari or meeting with park rangers. And here's some more pieces of what experiential classes can look like. You could be working with kids at a local school. You could be studying the geology by looking at the layers of a mesa, or studying flamingos in Bolivia, or doing a walking art tour, really anywhere. Art is all around us. And other days you might be walking through history as you explore the Incan civilization before you arrive at Machu Picchu. You could be meeting influential community people like freedom fighters that fought with Nelson Mandela to end apartheid. And also you could be taking an immersive language seminar, particularly on the South America semester, and go explore a city with somebody who has grown up in the area. And behind the scenes, your teachers are carefully tracking academic hours for everything that you're doing, whether it's a sit-down lecture, a historical tour, a guest speaker, or possibly a test. And what do these courses look like? We have our students take 6 classes. You can see those 3 required classes: global studies, PE and independent life skills, and then Spanish for the spring semester. And there's 3 different levels of Spanish. And then along with those, we have our recommended courses: honors history, honors world literature and composition, and honors natural science. And these courses are all place-based and experiential, taking advantage of the regions that we're at and in. And then finally, those supplementary courses, you can see that there are a minimum number of students that need to be signed up in order to make those classes happen. And those are math of various forms, and then travel journalism that's in the fall. And we're gonna give it a whirl with Kate and see if she can chime in and tell us a little bit about the classes that she experienced on her semester.
Hi. So my classes on my semester were really amazing, and they opened up my world a lot. And just a few examples of the classes is the history class. I always loved history, but um, when I went into the traveling school and started doing history there, it was just a whole new side of history that I never experienced before. And we had a lot of really hard conversations about history, especially being in Southern Africa, about colonialism and things like that. But we also learned a lot of really beautiful things about culture and history. And even math was not my favorite subject, but even math was fun. And the teachers made it fun, and they encouraged you and helped you along. And the classes they really made me fall in love with learning again. And I know a lot of other people agree with that statement, that just learning in a new area and experiential learning and being able to, if you want to learn about something, you can go see it. If we wanted to learn about political prisoners, we would go to Robben Island in Southern Africa, and we'd learn about what happened there, and we'd hear firsthand stories. And it was just really amazing to open up my eyes to a whole new side of learning.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. And can you, since we tuned you in a little bit late, will you just let people know what semester you did and what the year also?
Yes, I was on the traveling school semester 30. So that was last fall 2018 in Southern Africa.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, so we just heard a little bit from Kate, one of our awesome alumni. And in general, let's chat about what are typical students like. So traveling school students are academically curious. They're ready to engage with the world around them. They're really willing to live out of a backpack or a duffel bag and be on the road. They're highly motivated, adventurous, and fun. They want to be challenged, and they're ready to have an experience that pushes their comfort zone. They're willing to adapt to new situations and environments. They're really seeking some challenging academic learning in a non-traditional setting. They're hoping to differentiate themselves on college applications. They're really interested in learning about other cultures, and they're really excited to build a supportive and inclusive community with their other traveling school classmates. And some statistics, we typically get students from all over the United States, with the occasional international student that joins us. Our students are generally in grades 10, 11, and 12, ages 15 through 18, and are from the range of public, private, and homeschool settings. All right, so that was the teachers. Oh, here are the teachers. That was the students. Here are the teachers. So who are these teachers? Who will be the people that you'll learn from? Who are the women who will cheer you on? Who will inspire you? These women. You'll travel with 4 awesome female teachers, and the teachers are experienced world travelers and educators. They will teach all your classes. They act as your mentor, both formally and informally, because each student is assigned to a mentor who helps support you during your semester. The teachers also act as your international and cultural guides, and so much more. And on this slide, you'll see just a few words about how our alumni describe their traveling school teachers. So Kate, I'd love to tune you in here again. Can you tell us a little bit about how you would describe your teachers and how they were as role models and mentors?
Yeah, so my teachers are hands down some of the most amazing women I've ever met. They support you from day one. They're not only your teachers, but they're also your friends and, like you said, role models. And they also are your mentors, officially and unofficially. During your semester, you get assigned a mentor. for the first half and the second half. You have 2 different mentors, but all of them really are there to help you and help you just see the wonder that's in the world and help you open your eyes, but also help you take that journey of like self-discovery that you get while you're on the traveling school. And they support you academically. They go above and beyond. And yeah, I had 4 teachers on my semester, and each one of them was incredibly unique, and I had a really strong connection with every one of them, and they had a strong connection with every student on that semester. And I still talk to my teachers constantly. We email back and forth about the semester and about what's happening now, and you really gain someone who's going to be there to support you and someone who you will remember for a very long time.
Well, thanks, Kate.
At the beginning of the slideshow, we talked about our 4 pillars. So we just kind of went through the experiential academics, and the other 3 pillars, outdoor adventure, global engagement, and leadership development, are woven into the day-to-day experiences while you're with the traveling school. For us, to be adventurous means you need to be engaged with your surroundings. And to succeed in the outdoors and the global setting, you need to cultivate your leadership, voice, and style. Not everybody comes to the traveling school outdoorsy or ready to backpack or canoe or kayak down rivers, but they'll all get the chance. You might find yourself backpacking through the high mountain peaks of Peru, crossing mountain passes over 15,000 feet. You could find yourself canoeing down the Orange River, bouncing between the borders of Namibia and South Africa. You might culminate your semester mountaineering in Bolivia, working as a team. Or you could be on a fun day sand sledding in Namibia, just seeing how fast you can go whizzing down these huge sand dunes. And this component of outdoor education builds strong leadership and communication skills. It empowers young women through hands-on experiences and adventures that push limits, develop new skill sets, and grow confidence.
Global engagement and cultural interaction is the 3rd pillar that we're going to talk about today. So these are a collection of photos of different types of cultural interaction that our students have had in the past. So through this entire semester, through this whole experience, the goal is that you become a world citizen. You'll meet people, you'll learn about their perspectives. While learning from them, you'll hear their stories, and you'll be inspired to create change when you return home, and also to have a bigger impact on your future travels. So some specific examples of what this looks like includes that you'll spend multiple class hours learning from community members directly. You'll connect with different cultures through community service projects and working with local guides. Each semester, students participate in a week-long homestay, either in Ecuador on the South America semester or in South Africa during the Southern Africa semester. And also in South America, as we mentioned, when we talked about our classes, each student participates in a Spanish language study, and that really helps you get to talk to people and immerse yourself a little bit more.
So we see this final pillar as leadership development as really kind of a product of the 3 previously mentioned pillars. By pushing limits academically, physically, through these experiences and interactions and a little bit of type 2 fun, we see our students gain confidence in themselves and their abilities to do more than they ever imagined they could. Kate, I'm wondering if you could speak to an experience that you had on your semester that's helped you kind of grow confidence in your leadership skills moving forward. Would you mind talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So leadership is such a big part of this semester, and everybody gets the chance to become a leader, which is really unique. And one thing that I learned about leadership that I guess I didn't consider before I left for my semester is that a lot of leadership is listening and being able to have conversations and then being able to act. And that's not something that I thought about before, but one few experiences actually that really helped me become a better leader. When you're on your semester, you get the chance to kind of be in charge of the whiteboard for the day. Whiteboards, of course, are such a big part of it. And you get to write out the schedule. And one thing that I did is that I listened to what everybody wanted, whether they wanted 10 minutes of free time or study time or the order that they wanted the day to look like. You got to listen to that, and then you got to act and compromise. And that really taught me how to listen to the voice of the community, but also be able to take control of what's happening and make sure that everyone's heard, and still be able to hone my leadership skills. And that was really amazing. And then just being a part of the group as a whole, at the end of the semester, you get something called a Zenith project. And my semester, we split into 2 Zenith projects, but we still learned, each of us took a leadership role in the Zenith project, where we get to make a change in the places that we visited. And that's really amazing that we get to be leaders and also make a change through the traveling school.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kate.
And Kate's she's holding that girl sign right there, since we don't get to see her face during the slideshow, but there she is if you need a face to go along with her wisdom. Okay, so you just heard Kate mention the whiteboard. There is an example of the whiteboard. Traveling school days are structured, but they're nothing close to routine. No 2 days are ever the same. And so to try to help put this into context for the girls throughout the semester, teachers every weekend try to give a weekly forecast of travel plans, upcoming activities, and some of the major classes that they'll see throughout the week. And then each night, to hone that bigger picture in, the one teacher presents a whiteboard schedule for the upcoming day. And we intentionally make the schedule on the whiteboard because we know it can change so quickly, and we have to be responsive to that. Students are a big part of making the days function smoothly. They're involved in every portion, from helping prepare meals, sometimes helping out on shopping missions. They clean up campsites and hostels, and then when we move from point A to point B, they also help move our group gear, libraries, and extra books and things like that, tents that might help us along the way. A day in the life with the traveling school means being community-oriented, flexible, ready to play a game, or hurry up and wait as an activity gets shuffled around. So I think you've all caught on by now, but we have 2 programs. Each fall, we visit Southern Africa. On this semester, we travel in a huge overland truck through Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And we're lucky enough to travel with a driver and a cook with a company that we have a long-standing relationship with, and so they're another great component to that semester. On this semester, you camp along the way. If you want to picture that, think kind of KOA style camping. So these campgrounds typically have showers and water and shady areas for classes. This semester is on the hotter side. So some days you can experience temperatures over 100 degrees, and before you know it, you'll be dancing in the rain and cooling off in South Africa. Throughout the semester, you'll be scouting for animals on safaris, interacting with people who speak over 10 languages, including English, and you'll also be learning how to roll and unroll your tent in no time. And just a quick note about the homestay in Southern Africa. We do this in South Africa, just outside of Cape Town, and we've worked with these families for many years, and they love offering traveling school students a few luxuries that you don't typically have on the semester. Things like your own bed, a fridge to open up and choose what you want to eat, maybe a washing machine. They do all this while sharing stories of their lives and looking to hear more about your life back home.
Our spring semester in South America heads to Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia in that order. We spend about 5 weeks in each of these countries. and the semester dates are February 1st through May 15th. So in South America, some things that are different than the Africa semester, as you heard us mention, there's a Spanish language study, and this is because most people speak Spanish and not a lot of English. So you need to know some Spanish to be able to hear their stories, to interact with people. And you'll also learn how to follow along as your teachers and some of the other students translate for you, so you won't miss out on everything. So instead of camping the whole time in this semester, you spend most of your evenings in hostels in small towns. And sprinkled throughout the semester, you will do some camping, like these students on the screen here. They're on a multiple-day trek on the Inca Trail. And this includes high altitude backpacking or trekking, as we call that. You'll be in the Andes Mountains, and you'll do this in Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia throughout the semester. So if you are excited about doing long backpacking trips in high elevation, sometimes with snow and really beautiful mountains, you might really enjoy this semester. So on this semester as well, the difference is that we don't travel by a big truck. You instead travel by public and private bus from town to town. In the homestays on the South America semester, you spend a week with a Quechua family in a small rural village in Ecuador. And this homestay experience is very rustic. You'll learn about traditional Quechua culture and also learn about the impact of Spanish colonization still felt today in this small community.
Oh, risk management, that big piece that I'm sure is on every parent's mind, and it should be. It's always on our mind because it's imperative for our programming. And while we acknowledge that risk is all around us, no matter where we are, from our hometowns to our international travel, it's key that we focus on the risk management while overseas. And so our job as a school is to make informed decisions to maintain our risk management goals. And we recognize that everybody is a key player in this. So students will learn how to acknowledge and identify risks and be a part of choosing the safer option, or the conservative option, I should say. And teachers will teach them this during orientation. They revisit it with new activities and throughout the semester. And this, we know, is a big topic. It can't be summed up in one slide, but there will be plenty of opportunities to discuss risk management during admissions and enrollment. But if something's on your mind, please feel free to call us or email with specific questions.
Okay, so now that we've kind of provided an overview of the experiences, we just want to spend a couple minutes going through the next steps if you were to want to get involved in an experience. So let's spend a couple minutes going over the admissions process. So first off, the 2019-2020 admissions season has already begun. The application is online, and you will find all of this information and more on our website. So if you're interested in applying, you can go on to our website, and the first step is just one, in that same vein that Andra was talking about, of risk management, just looking over the essential eligibility criteria. We call it the EEC, and it's really just a guide to help you understand the realities of our programs and make sure it's a good fit for you. After this, there's an online application that you will submit, and then you can take the academic credit transfer form to your counselor. And online, there's also kind of a breakdown of our courses that you can share with your counselor as well. We ask for 2 letters of recommendation, and then once we have all of those pieces in place, the next step is that we will then contact you for a student interview, where we can get to know you a little bit better, and you can ask us lots of questions about the program to make sure it's a good fit. And then also there is another interview just with parents and either Anj or Leah, depending on the semester. So again, just an opportunity for them to get to know you and ask any questions that come up. And then the other piece of it is the cost. So we acknowledge that tuition is a lot, but we truly feel that it's a long-term investment. And we really want it to be known that we're dedicated to making this a reality for students. And we really want any driven young woman who wants to attend to be able to. So because of this, we offer financial aid, we offer merit scholarships, and we also provide a fundraising toolkit online to help young women who want to be able to raise those funds on their own if need be. Those are kind of the specifics. I should say that our applications are due on February 1st, and then after that, we try to process everything and then get decisions out by the beginning of April. So with that in mind, I think we're on to questions. So I'm not sure if any questions came up during. We're just going to take a second to bear with us to check our chat function. Okay, well, if anyone has any questions that came up while listening to this webinar, please take a second to type them in now, and we'd be happy to answer them. We also have Kate, who can provide student perspective on any components of a trip.
Hey, Kate, here's one that just came in. What does an actual class look like at the traveling school?
So that's a really good question. That's one that I had before I went on my semester. It depends day to day, but most days what it looks like is you'll get your schedule the night before, and you'll be given materials. You'll get notebooks in your packing list, and you'll be given books. And some days the classes will look like you'll get your crazy creaky, your camp chair, and you will go sit with your teacher and the rest of your class. And generally the classes are also whiteboard based. We use a lot of whiteboards and big sheets of paper that we draw graphics on. And you really get to dive in and have really good discussions with your classmates and do group work, but also do work alone with your classes and your teachers. And it all just depends on which class you're in. For science class, one time we went on a safari and learned how to do field journals. For history, like I said, we went out and visited places where political prisoners were held. So it all just depends on what your day looks like, but just a normal class looks like sitting and talking, and usually you're in a shady area. Sometimes one time you got to hear like a fun podcast. I didn't have a class where I didn't enjoy my class for that day. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, Kate. That was awesome. Looks like we have another question that came in that I can answer. So the question is about technology. So do students bring phones or laptops? And that's a really great question. We consider ourselves technology free and fully immersed. And this is one of those rare times in your life where you get to not have a cell phone and not be tied to a screen at all. So our students don't bring phones and they don't bring laptops, but we do have a few devices you can bring. So we definitely encourage students to bring cameras. You're allowed to bring a Kindle if you're a really big reader. And we also provide a small MP3 music player, and you get that before the semester starts to load your favorite music on top of, and that way you have something to listen to during the semester.
Awesome. And I'm going to take a question that just came through. It says, how will I communicate with my daughter? And as a parent myself, I think, that's a really important question to address. So there's lots of ways that you'll be able to communicate with your daughter on one of these semesters. The first thing I should say is teachers are always in communication with our home office in Bozeman. And so there's always ways, if anything was to go on, we can communicate with parents immediately. The other thing is teachers are always sending information or examples of student work or pictures, and we try to update a semester blog pretty regularly throughout the semester, and families will have access to that to try to get a sense of what's going on as well. Beyond that, I try to schedule calls every 2 weeks At a minimum, sometimes it's sooner or they're closer together than that. But those are just opportunities to check in with your daughter via Skype or a phone call, just to see how things are going. And beyond that, depending on where you are in a semester and depending on which semester it is, there might be time during town time or free time to either, if you're on the South American semester, there's still a lot of internet cafes over there that you sometimes your daughter might have time to go in and check in with you via email or a quick call. And also in Southern Africa, depending on where you are, there's opportunities for that as well. So thanks.
Cool. We got another question about food on semesters. That's a great one. It's definitely different. There's no kitchen. Grocery stores look differently overseas, so not as many options. And then we're also traveling, so we can't carry large cupboards with us full of options. That being said, we do 3 meals a day with a couple snacks in between. Our goal is to provide healthy foods. And so what that looks like is mornings are often yogurts and granola or with some fruit, potentially eggs in there. Lunch is, sandwich spreads, leftover meals. Lunch is definitely the one that's more variable throughout the semester. Sometimes you're going into markets and finding food there with like a Spanish class or something. And then dinners on the South America trip, so the spring trip, dinners are often coordinated with local restaurants. So there we can provide for vegetarians, pescatarians, meat lovers, all different things. Same thing on the Southern Africa trip. We can accommodate all different types of food preferences. It is important that we know if you have allergies or strong food needs, just because we are traveling and things look differently. And so we want to be able to talk through what we can and can't guarantee on that realm of the food thing. So it's definitely different. It's unique. Kate, what were some of your memorable meals over in Southern Africa?
Well, we got to eat a lot of local foods. We, like you said earlier when you were explaining the semester, we have a cook and a driver with us. Our cook introduced us to a lot of different foods that I didn't know about. One of them is shima, and it's like a corn maize thing, and it sounds like, oh, I don't know about that, but it's probably one of the best foods that I've had, and I think about it every day. I wish I had some with me right now. But we have a lot of like rice and beans. We always had vegetables with everything. Lunch was definitely kind of the meal of the day where there were a lot of things happening. We had sandwiches and we always had leftovers, and the food was just great. There wasn't a time when I was like, oh, I'm hungry, because our cook always fed us well, and we always had great snacks. And we did have opportunities to go out and get food sometimes, and that was always a special treat, and to go out to dinner and things like that. But yeah, all the food was so great, and breakfast was always granola and yogurt and really great things, and I wish I could have the food right now.
Awesome. You just made us laugh, Kate. Great. All right, Pia sent in a question, says, would I be able to send letters to my friends and family back home? That's a great question. So there's a couple opportunities. In the beginning of the semester, within the first 2 weeks, you're able to send letters back home, because we have a person from the office go over during the first few weeks and support the program. So they're over there to haul letters back home, and they're mailed from the States. And then halfway through the semester, we typically have another person from the office visit. So there's typically an opportunity there to haul letters home. Otherwise, people do send postcards and they do make it. Sometimes it takes many, many weeks, but we encourage you to grab some postcards and also just share those, you know, either sending them back with a person from the office or putting them in the mail and seeing just how long it takes to get home. All right.
Awesome. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, you know, we really want to encourage you all to just utilize this as like a first step in connecting with us. And if anything came up that you want to continue to discuss or have questions about, we really encourage you to reach out to us at the office. And that's why we're here to support you through this process. We know there are a lot of, you know, big decisions and a lot of tough thinking that goes into it. So we're here to help you with that. The best way to do that on the screen right now is our phone number for the office. And you can get in touch with any of us, or we can, you know, you can share your question with whoever answers the phone and we'll direct you accordingly. There's also an email address that you can reach out to. And the other way just to kind of stay constantly connected is to follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram in particular. We try to keep up with, you know, posts of what's going on at a current semester and also share things that have happened on previous semesters. It'll give you a sense of the flavor of our semesters as well. But yeah, beyond that, we really hope this was a good, you know, way for you all to get to know about our programs. We will be posting this on our website, and we'll make sure we send it to all of you as well, so you can watch it again if you want, or you can share it with anyone else who you think might be interested. But we just really want to thank you for taking the time to be with us for this last 45 minutes or so and learn more about our programs at the Traveling School.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.